One of the things I like about the Nintendo Switch is how it sort of caters to retro audiences. You guys know I did reviews on games like Blaster Master Zero and Mighty Gunvolt Burst, which are definitely retro-inspired games that really seem to be thriving on the Nintendo Switch. Now, if you're not a subscriber, you probably have missed out on those videos. So let's go ahead and change that and hit that subscribe button down below. But I love the attention to detail with retro on the Nintendo Switch, and it even translates into the arcade stuff. We've been getting a lot of awesome Neo Geo games, arcade ports on the Nintendo Switch, and it's just been a good time. So when Namco Museum was announced for the Nintendo Switch, I definitely had my eyes on it, and I've kind of went back and forth on whether or not I should pick it up. It just released on July 28th, so I've waited a couple days, but I decided to go ahead and purchase it because I figure you're here for retro games, you're here for Nintendo Switch stuff and occasional PS4 stuff. Why not just combine everything into one and make one good video on a product that everyone on this channel should honestly be interested in? So, Namco Museum for the Nintendo Switch. Is it worth it? Should you check it out? Should you be interested in it? Let's find out. So right off the bat, I have one problem with Namco Museum on the Nintendo Switch, and that is the lack of a physical release. I know, it's a petty little thing. It's just a small little thing, but as a retro collector, as a video game collector, I love physical media. And it really seems like it would make sense if you're making a retro-inspired game that's obviously going to tap into the retro market to at least do, a limited physical release. You could even just do it through the Namco or Bandai Namco website, and I think people would have been really into that. So right now, this is a digital only game and it costs $30, and it comes with about 10 games on there. So you're looking at about $3 a game. So it definitely is a bit expensive for an eShop exclusive. And then when we look at the games list, you sort of see what this system brings to the table. You've got a decent variety of games, I feel. Some are better than others. Some I think we have played a million different times and we've just gotten tired of it. But you've got games like Pac-Man, Dig Dug, Galaga, Galaga 88, Rolling Thunder 2, Splatterhouse, Sky Kid, Tank Force, and Tower of Druaga. Now, I'm pretty familiar with most of these titles. Obviously, Pac-Man and Dig Dug, those are staples. One of the main reasons I bought this was for Splatterhouse. So the first game we're going to take a look at is actually Splatterhouse because I love Splatterhouse. Splatterhouse is awesome. If you've never played a Splatterhouse game, you're definitely missing out. The trilogy is just fantastic. I might avoid the PS3 one. That one's a little iffy, but the originals are great, and this is a great version of the game. It's an arcade replication, and when you boot up the game, you are pretty much just thrust right into it like an arcade scene. You see that it has like a border around it, and one of the things I really liked is that each game actually has two specific borders to that game. So these aren't just little cheap borders either. I think they did a really good job with these borders. It definitely sort of adds to the game. It definitely makes it, stick out a little bit more. And then there is a third default border that is just a gray sort of side screen thing so that it looks more like an arcade unit, because all of these games are obviously Namco arcade classics. And there's a bunch of other different options you can choose as well. You could position the screen in different ways. You can add scan lines to the game, which I thought was really cool. And you could zoom in on the screen if you want to, better look at it. So there's lots of cool little things like that that I feel really add to the game. And then there's a full sort of instruction booklet. It tells you how to play the game for each and every game, which I thought was really nice. And then, of course, you actually play the game. And one thing that really stands out that, I won't be able to replicate in this video, but you'll just have to take my word for it, the HD rumble. The HD rumble on this game is really good. It varies from game to game, obviously, but it's very responsive and it really sort of adds a little bit to the game. You can turn it off, of course, and arcade purists will want to turn it off, but I thought it was a nice little touch. I definitely wasn't expecting, when I'm swinging my cleaver or my little wooden stick that, I would feel something because of that, but you do, and that was a really cool thing. So I was very pleased with Splatterhouse, and it felt great playing it on the Switch. Everything ran good, everything looked really good, so I was pleasantly surprised with that. I did check out some other games. Some of these games I wasn't too familiar with. The Rolling Thunder series, I've honestly never played it before, so I wanted to check out those games. pretty fun games. They're basically side-scrolling games where you're just going from left to right. You could jump from plateau to plateau. It's sort of like a lower ground and an upper ground, and you're just shooting people. You can go inside of little buildings and get more ammunition and more life and stuff like that. Fun little game. I might sink some more time into it. Definitely something pretty cool, but a good game. I feel it's a solid game, and I had some fun with it. Galaga 88 was actually something I wasn't super familiar with. Of course, I was a fan of the original Galaga. I've played it a million times, but Galaga 88 is sort of like an enhanced version of that. You could do a little bit more in Galaga 88. There's better graphics and whatnot, and I had a really good time playing it. Now, of course, these are all arcade games. So one of the main things when it comes to arcade games is, of course, score. So there is online leaderboards and whatnot. You can register your score and share your score with people. So I thought that was cool. Obviously, there's going to be some heavy competition with this. Obviously, a lot of people are going to get, you know, over the scores. Like if you look at the arcade community, there's always stuff going on about scores and whatnot. So people get really intense with that. But I did like the fact that it did have online scores in the game. And of course, some of these games are multiplayer. You know, you can do 2-player with them, and with the Joy-Cons, you know, you're perfect because these are very simplistic games. They don't require a lot of buttons, and you know, most of these are 2-button games, so the Joy-Cons handle it really well if you're looking for that. Now, there is an exclusive game to this that is Pac-Man Versus, which was available on the GameCube. One of those Pac-Man games or a Namco collection. I can't remember what it was, but you can get this on this as well. The only drawback to that is the fact that you have to have 2 Nintendo Switch systems. I didn't like that. I understand why, just because of the way the game is created, it makes more sense to have 2 Nintendo Switch systems, but that is sort of limits it, but it is free. You could download it for free when you download the game. So a nice feature, but I don't think a lot of people will use it. Now, one of the features I really liked about the game is the ability to change the position of the screen. So I'm gonna show you guys right now how I have my Pac-Man screen. Now, obviously, you normally have your screen like this, but you can rotate the screen 90 degrees and make it like a longer thing. So I thought that was really neat. This is one of the first games I've actually seen feature this sort of feature, and it looks really good. You can also, you know, go into your menu settings and adjust everything in there. You can zoom in on the display, which I'm going to do right now. So you can see, get a little zoom going on there. It makes it bigger. So pretty cool, honestly. You know, they did a good job of packing in a lot of features into this collection of arcade games, of classic arcade ports. Now, of course, this is an Is It Worth It video, and there's a lot going for it, and there's a lot of things that sort of aren't going for it. So when you look at the price of the game, it's $30, and that's a pretty steep investment, I feel, especially for a collection of pretty much 10 games. That would be $3 a game. And some of these games, like a game like Pac-Man, you've played Pac-Man a million times. Do you really need to play Pac-Man again? It just sort of depends. You know, there's a good variety of games that I wasn't familiar with. You know, games like Sky Kid. Sky Kid is actually a really fun game that I enjoyed. The aforementioned Rolling Thunder games are really fun. And of course, Splatterhouse. So if I had to pick, you know, 5 of the games I really like on it, Galaga, Sky Kid, the 2 Rolling Thunders, and Splatterhouse are awesome, super fun games. I think the main thing with this collection is you pretty much have to look at the game list. You pretty much have to look at the footage that I've been showing you of these games, because I'm going to try to show you as many games as possible, and sort of decide for yourself. You know, decide, did you grow up in that arcade era? Do you have fond memories of that? If not, do you want to have memories of that? Do you want to visit that time in gaming when gaming was very simplistic? You know, a couple quarters you could play a ton of different games and, you know, spend the whole day in the arcade. If you were really good and you got really good, you could get even further and further in the game. They did do a lot of nice modern features. I do like the ability to switch the screen. I do like the ability just to zoom in on the screen. Lots of little things that make up for a very interesting game. I primarily bought this game because honestly, I wanted to review it for you guys. I felt it was a good fit for the channel with both retro and Nintendo Switch, which is what we're doing a lot of on this channel lately. And at $30, I would say I got my money's worth, only because I love Splatterhouse, only because Rolling Thunder, Galaga 88, and Sky Kid really impressed me. Because even if I take away all the other 5 games, which I'm gonna play Pac-Man, I'm gonna play Dig Dug, you know, $6 a piece for those games, honestly not too terrible. And you're getting it in a nice package. You have the ability to switch the screen, zoom in, nice borders. It's a decent little package. So if you are fond of these games, if you like the library of games, I think it's worth checking out. If you're not a fan of these games, if you've never had an interest in old school Namco games, this isn't gonna change your mind. So buyer beware on that aspect. I've been having fun with the game, and I'll continue to have fun with the game. So, have you picked up Namco Museum? What did you think of all of the footage I showed and all of the details I gave you guys about this game? And is it something that you're going to include in your Nintendo Switch library? Let me know in the comments section down below. And thank you for checking out this video. Don't forget, you can actually make custom cases for Nintendo Switch games. If you go to Nintendo's website, you can actually buy 5 blank Switch cases for like $7. And so you can just sort of print out your own artwork. I might actually start getting into that for games like Blaster Master Zero that should have had a physical release, and of course this, because you know, it would feel a little bit better, I guess. So thank you for checking out this video. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. Leave me your comments in the comment section down below. Hit that like button. If you really like my face, check out my Patreon. Check out all the streams I'm doing lately. I'm doing like 3 streams a week. I'm not sleeping, and I'll never sleep because sleep is for the weak. I'll catch you guys next time. Later.
RGT 85, RGT 85. RGT 85, RGT